US House of Representatives has, with an overwhelming majority, passed a bill instructing the Biden administration to explore more avenues to strengthen ties with the members of the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, passed by a roll call of 379 to 39 votes. The strengthening of US, Australia, India, Japan cooperation bill directs the State Department to submit to the US Congress within 180 days of the bill's enactment a strategy to increase engagement and cooperation with the Quad, and within 60 days of its enactment to enter into negotiations with Japan, Australia and India to establish a Quad intra-parliamentary working group to facilitate closer cooperation. Introduced by Congressman Gregory Meeks, the bill also seeks to establish a U.S. group with a maximum of 24 members of Congress to represent the United States of America in the working group. It would in fact further establish guidelines for annual meetings and group leadership. Additionally, the group would be required to submit an annual report to the Congressional Foreign Affairs committees. So big developments trickling in this morning. Joining us on the broadcast to give us more details is my colleague Ajay Jandal. Ajay, over to you.
U.S. House of Representatives have passed the Quad bill, which instructs the Biden administration to establish a Quad parliamentary working group to facilitate closer cooperation between the U.S., Australia, India, and Japan. We have seen that even how the world have faced, the recession, the pandemics and other things, and especially the way basically India have dealt with the pandemics in the recent past. So this seems that basically, this group is to monitor the situation and help these countries to fight the pandemic as well as the other challenges what these countries are facing. That seems to be the reason that they wanted this special creation, and we have seen that this bill was introduced by the Congressman Gregory Meeks, and the bill required the State Department to report to Congress a strategy for bolstering engagement and cooperation with the Quad, means to these four countries. The strategy shall address cooperation on the issues including preparation for the next pandemic, co-development, new innovation technologies, and deepening economic engagements and integration. So these are the issues what through this group can be addressed. That seems to be the plan of this group.
All right, Ajay, I'd like to thank you. But we also have with us this morning Professor Madhav Nalapat, Editorial Director of the Sunday Guardian. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on the broadcast. A major move by the US Congress. How do you think this can in fact further galvanize curbing China's aggressional ambitions in the South China Sea and the Indo-Pacific? And what do you make of America's step and outreach move in particular towards the other Quad nations in enhancing cooperation?
Well, I'd like to say that the Biden administration, unfortunately, has got very distracted by secondary theaters in Europe. In fact, I think the Biden presidency is obsessed with Europe, and particularly obsessed with Ukraine. And as a consequence, the real theater of operations, the Indo-Pacific, has been neglected. The House of Representatives has been very clear and very focused, at least the majority of the members of the House of Representatives have, that it is the Indo-Pacific that is the main challenge that is being faced in the present and the future. And at the same time, the effort of the Biden administration to just throw money at Ukraine, for example, money that is being spent in a lost war, this actually makes no sense from the American security perspective. At the same time, a good relationship with India is absolutely essential for the United States if it is ever to talk of ensuring a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Here again, I'm sorry to say, the Biden administration has not done very well. I mean, you have Jake Sullivan, for example, suddenly, not finding the time to come to India because there's some unspecified threat from heaven knows where. It's all unspecified, of course. And it could be that there could be an attempt at burglary at his uncle's house or something. We don't know. But the fact of the matter is, the Biden administration, unfortunately, has allowed itself to be so completely distracted by European issues and so completely embedded in this policy of Europe first and last that it is neglecting the other parts of the world, neglecting the Indo-Pacific, and this is being taken advantage of by China. The one force standing up against this kind of invasion by China in its influence is India. Whether it's our Navy, which is doing a stellar job in ensuring safety of maritime shipping through the most important trade routes that go from Europe and from the Middle East to India and then beyond. Whether it be the Air Force, whether it be the Army, India is the one country that is standing up to any kind of aggression by China. Indian soldiers have shown their valor on the battlefield, as has the Navy and the Air Force. This is a lesson for the United States, and I think it's a very welcome move. The Quad, frankly, I don't think that Joe Biden really, thinks much of the Quad, barring an occasional statement. It was basically energized by Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And I'm sorry to say that under Biden, the Quad is not doing 1/5 of what it ought to be doing. I'm very glad the House of Representatives has given a wake-up call to the State Department. I think they need to do a wake-up call to the Defense Department also, although that department is slightly better than the State Department. The State Department, Anthony Blinken, should be called the European Department of the White House, because it's only concerned about Europe. And unfortunately, the same situation with Jake Sullivan and many of the other officials of the Biden administration. They are completely obsessed with Europe, particularly Ukraine, particularly yesterday's enemy, Russia, ignoring today's enemy, which is the People's Republic of China.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.